Dear everyone, welcome to my little video here about pedophilia. Welcome to every one of you watching. That is all co-pedophiles, everyone who has this tendency or sexuality, to an anonymous who might or might not be friendly with me after this movie, to the general audience, to philosophers alike, and to the general public. Greetings. My name is Simon. I'm a man of 45, in 3 days, 46 years old. And I'm coming forward to you, not just expressing myself as a pedophile, which I have been my entire life, but also to explain to you what pedophilia is in relation to the society we're in, but also, I'm sorry, I'm not really good at this, but I'm trying my best. But also what pedophilia is in relation to nature. I would like to describe to you some new science that has been granted to me to produce for you. I have dug it out of nature, and it's kind of overwhelming because no one has so far concluded as I have. And I would like for you to understand what I'm talking about in all of this. The most important thing is that you must understand that pedophilia is the meaning of life. Everyone is wondering what the meaning of life is while seeking their gratitude in doing so. But because life is what it is, a game of pain, we continuously become better at through every death. In nature, where no one leaves their lives ungutted and uneaten, then the meaning of life is basically to to attain gratitude, the most of it that you can in your life. It means that since you become better at gratitude, because you become better per incarnation in higher and higher holsters and higher bodies, because your soul grows and your experience of pain and death in that past incarnation led you to the one you're in, for better distributing pain and for better navigating in pain, then the highest gratitude over time will become to distribute the pain you've been given out of natural vengeance for your gratitude into and through pedophilia. So this is kind of overwhelming for many things, for many entities to understand, but I'll try to be brief with it. The whole evidence is basically that we are in 3D space and time. That in that tomorrow comes and we're here, and that we have to do the most of it that we can we have to do the most of what we can with what we have where we are, as they say, and that applies to all things. I dug something out called CAS, Cardinal Awareness Structure, which is basically how the mind operates, and the mind operates universally for all things living. You have short-term dichotomic, means forking out relations between short-term and long-term hunt for gratitude. That's how your mind operates in an environment of evil. That is all things. Everything is evil when you look at it linguistically. In favor of hunting the smartest solution to the idiocy you propose to deal with. Basically, everything is a problem of idiocy, anything but the smartest solution, to which your mind operates in favor of finding out how to navigate for yourself, for your gratitude, for the hunt thereof, for the highest fulfillment in your freedom, to attain the maximum amount of pleasure in your life and gratitude thereof, in a constant array of options that's continuously evolving around you as you make stances on this and that in favor of finding out how to navigate in favor of your gratitude, that is the highest emotion. Again, we look for the meaning of life while seeking our gratitude in doing so. And all things leads to a conclusion where you continuously try to win, thus leading to victory and fulfillment through the victory. And that everything is evil is basically, evil is something. And what evil is conclusion of a situation in elevation, in hierarchy. So basically, every situation, that's many of them, all of them, are concluded with elevation and hierarchy from the winner. Ultimately, death takes it all, but we reincarnate, so we continuously are in battle between deaths where we grow, both grow from and grow towards, but also reincarnation, so death doesn't take the last stance for us because we continuously achieve more and more godlyhood through our existence. Now, we don't have any evidence for reincarnation, but we've never found one against except denial. There hasn't been a single evidence against reincarnation. And though many argue that this is a matter of faith, then when we look at it, the whole of the nature is still evolving and engulfing itself around producing the purpose of life, gratitude for us in our choices and in our freedom to do so. So the meaning of life is basically not to be a hollow husk that just is here to reproduce. We are here to have fun, the ultimate meaning of life. Now, an argument is, why would you rob a child from having fun by destroying it? Because it is not me. I am not the child. I was the child. I was even through that. I've been through this repetitively. And you can say the krænker and krænker, we say in Denmark, the perpetrates. But it doesn't matter because it was just today. It has its own rhythm where children grow up if they survive the rapes and the killings in a natural, healthy society. But in that, they are free from being the lesser in that situation, in relation to that situation. So if you make it like the deer, who's not always guaranteed to succeed in life, then you're free to do as what your gratitude and what your yearn defines for you on your legs. It's your yearn and it's your legs. And that means that you're not obligated by the law, you're not obligated by morals, and you're not obligated by tradition to do anything but what makes you tick. And this is the whole element of existence here, that the construct around us, that it can't be a pity in nature when it has to be for the offspring to have a healthy body to reside in upon reincarnation and conception, is essential for our society. It has to be a pity in nature because love is the language of love is basically love is violence wins for love. You can see that everywhere in nature. Everything is about hunt paranoia, fulfilling your hunger by eating someone who didn't want to die for you to be there. And then we are here, humanity, saying, hey, it can't be a pity for us because we're able to coherently argue that we don't like being hurt. So suddenly the rules of nature has been pushed aside, leading to a massive array of entropy to which we're about to fall so hard and so flat that there's nothing to do for us because there's no sustainability in what we're doing. And this is a massive problem. It means that our species is going to go extinct because we're going to eat ourselves out of the house we live in nature. And we haven't understood shit. We have Christianity, and believe me right, I am a Christian to the core of my bones, but not by default of the Bible, but in my relations to the gods. And the point is that when we kid ourselves by telling ourselves that we have to be nice and overly compassionate, suffocating compassionate towards one another, then we are in fact kidding ourselves to a degree where nothing is consistent because the weak and the sheep starts defining for the wolves how to live. This is a problem because there's no sustainability in having the weak fend for the weak. There's no sustainability in it. There's weaker and weaker husks to which our species simply will go extinct by degeneration sooner or later because we're not chiseled. All aspects of both hunt but also man trials, from going from a young boy to becoming a man, anything that could define for us how to be creatures of violence, which we are. We are nothing but creatures of violence, subduing ourselves with compassion and trying to understand our emotional life enforced upon us when we should just be. In favor of the constant argument, what if it was yourself? But the whole point is that doesn't matter because it's your legs. Okay, wherever you go in your life it's your legs. You cannot in any way argue that whatever they go through should be a pity or a fault upon you in any other way than where it directly influences you. The moral principle of what if it was yourself is sick because it isn't. Okay? So the whole point is it's your freedom. It's your hunt, and you, man, are a creature of violence designed by nature to kill. I wrote the other day in a paper to Nature that there's you, and then there's the whole array of your ancestors who lived in a world where everything around them was prepared to eat and kill them anytime. And disregarding all that, they survived long enough for you to be here, leaving them strong and you as a slime garment of a culture so sick that you cannot even perceive how much fuck you're in. And that's the reality of your life. We're basically all slime garments. And we are degenerate. For the time of 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, still some places today, we had to hunt for our living. If we couldn't hunt, we were simply doomed. We died from starvation. Rightly so, because we have to be strong in nature as creatures of violence that is inbred in our nature for us to be here and have purpose in it. This is overwhelming thoughts, I know. But the point is we shan't kid ourselves with going to monasteries praying not to fuck a choir boy or a choir child, because it's your yearn, man. It's a gift to you from Mother Nature herself. You are. It's your legs. It's your gratitude, and whatever makes you tick, it is your yearn. It's not anyone else's. So if you don't provoke yourself by thinking, okay, why am I subdued by law, but who broadly shoots into the vivid void and says, don't do this and do that because otherwise you might get harmed? Yes, but I don't give a fuck because I can't even be armed in my country, man. I can't carry a gun and shoot down people who offend my freedom, because I'm deemed by default irresponsible enough, too irresponsible by society to carry a gun. And the problem goes on and on and on. Continuously we are confronted with the fact that it can't be a pity in nature, and no one wrote into the law there can't be idiocy. Okay, so basically the whole structure of our society is suffocating in mediocrity, weakness, and pity and compassion. And it's not because there shan't be compassion, because compassion is a wonderful stance when you're feeling okay. Okay, but the point is, if you enforce it so it becomes your guiding light to put yourself aside when the shitfuck should have a gun to his head and get shot, then you can't be there for your neighbor, whom by default, if you're feeling like it, should be shut down because it didn't show respect for your gratitude. And that's the world we have, where we have 8 billion people on a planet that can sustain 6 million by default. And everyone is eating without concerning themselves about the pig who didn't want to die, because it's not a pity for your pig. It's not a pity for your cow. They're disregarded. Your pet, your dog, yeah, that can have someone to eat. But your cow who died in a machine, so you can have someone to eat, is completely disregarded in 99.9% of your considerations regarding your dinner, because it's just a machine production. You don't take into consideration how that fucking cow feels. And when we look at Cass, that the whole structure of anything living is considering short-term and long-term gratitude in order to process idiocy, to produce the smartest solution depending on its abilities, then the cow considerably, and the pig and the fucking amoeba that I'm squashing right now to prove a point, is equally aware of its now, and is equally calculating on its options just like you are. It's completely as aware as you are, as you kill it. But it's not a pity for them, because you're not thrown into the face that it should be. You're not culturally indoctrinated or upbrought or enlightened to worship the fact that they gave their lives for you to live. It doesn't matter for you. You don't care about the cow. You don't care about the pig, the sheep, or the people in the utero who equally wants to live and are already calculating on becoming human, because it's not prudent, it's not convenient for you to start thinking those thoughts, because then you might be hit by something called guilt, which is equally as insane in any other relation than one pinpointed here, because it's not your fault that it's your urn. It's not your fault that you have to eat. It's your fault that you don't actively do something to make sure that you can navigate in this. Okay? So basically, if you don't navigate in favor of finding out what makes you grateful, and it might be, seriously, personal stance here. I know my chickens, my pigs, and my cows dies. And I know that had I been healthier and more gifted, I should eat nothing but what I had butchered myself. It's not about them not being butchered. It's about the respect that if you're going to eat someone, then you fucking kill them yourself. Okay? But I can't. I live in an apartment in a city, and I don't have a farm near me so I can do this. I'm forced to eat from the fucking fridge of the fucking supermarket. But by ideals, I should have nothing to eat that I hadn't killed myself. Even the fucking weeds on your stalks, on your fucking wheat, thinks. The wheat seeds might not yet, but the fucking wheat thinks. It twists itself in relation to where it can get more sun. There is, how do I solve the problem of energy optimization going through the mind or the entity of the wheat? You kill when you eat someone. And that is not a pity, because that's just how it is. But it can't be a pity for your mother. It can't be a pity for a random child that's not in anyway connected to you. It can't be a pity for this and that and etc. because you're insane. You're simply clinically insane. Okay? And that's the whole upbringing here. The whole of society is insane to the degree where we are not fending for the world we're living in, but just fending in a mix between fuck them and fuck your feelings and more taxes, and that it overall can't be a pity for you. The reason you say that you don't want to pay taxes, for instance, is because it can't be a pity for you, and I agree. You don't want it to be a pity for you. I agree. But the point is, in that relation, we have a whole society that has to stick together. You don't want potholes. Fix the fucking roads, ergo taxes. It's not that complicated. But the point is, all this shit here is a fragmented view of how crazy you fucking are, because you're growing up in a world where you learn everything about what goes on around you, but not a shred about what goes on inside of you. You've never even been forced to relate to how you feel. In any of the institutions you've been going through, you get to learn to disregard yourself, eat tons of chloride in the water. That's the only thing that's free in the society. Free water. Everyone's got a right to water. You know what the Nestle boss he said? He said that water is a right you have if you can afford it. And you know what they did? They said, okay, you can have clean water, but you can't get anything out of it. So we'll pour chloride, tons of liters of chloride and slime chemicals into that shit, so it dissolves your soul when you get stressed, which they're doing by default. You are being manipulated in any and all ways to be nothing but a cog in the machinery, so there's more for them and less for you, which is their power, the World Banks. The less they have, the more we do, is the World Bank's motto. And the whole relation to that is that you're worthless and you're force-fed with so much misinformation that in any way divides and conquers not just your world, but the perception within you and your schizophrenia, defined by these people because they know that if you learn to be grateful and follow your yearn and your freedom, disregarding all the shit they're giving you, then they wouldn't have the power over you much longer or anyone like you. And those people are dangerous, and they have all the power, and they don't give a shit about you. They just want you to suffer and produce so they have more, like the fucking feudal shit we're in already. And that's where you are, a manipulated sheep who can't think straight because all your isms and dogmas are completely chaotic. Most of you are even in a situation where you don't even acknowledge pedophilia or your own sexuality as a homosexual or scat fetishist or fucking zoo fetishist or whatever that's not just fucking the old lady up there, right? Because your dogmas and your yearn are contradicting each other. You can't openly admit that you'd like a 16-year-old girlfriend. If you do, maybe you're a totally conservative rock fuck who died ages ago inside of you and who doesn't give a fuck. But love is beautiful when you're 16, okay? So why wouldn't you? Well, because my neighbor, and that's the whole thing, the great man in Danish man, they say, you shan't do this and you shall do that. My neighbors would frown on me if I did something like that. Yes, but by fucking God, who cares? It's your legs. It's your fucking legs. You're not your neighbor. You're not anyone else. You're just you. And you're stuck with you. You can't escape you. You're born under that skull you live under, where you perceive from, and you are going to die under that skull. And you live for the day. Then you have this up to the 70s, it was regular business. Anyone knew that there were people who felt like that. And we are needed. Cock must be taught. Okay? Cock must be taught. That's the whole essence. We'll get to the proof in a moment. But the point is, everything you know is wrong. You're misguided sheep. Okay? And then half of you watching this are complete imbeciles. You are so retarded. I'm asking you kindly, has anyone called you a complete imbecile before you pick up your nails and weapons here? If they have, there's a risk that you are in fact a complete imbecile who can't think straight. Because if you can't think straight, you can't add things up. And if you can't add things up, then you're not good at deducting situations. And this here is a huge situation. You don't have a slightest concept of how to solve. There's been a lot of pinpoints here on how to do things. But it's still your legs. And if you're an imbecile and can't add that up, then don't get involved. Just listen. Because there's some science here that I want to give to you. And you might disregard it. I don't give a fuck. It's dirty proofs. It proves that the highest standard of sexuality is pedophilia, and it proves that it's needed in society, and it proves how to relate to our women, and it proves that you're all sick. So let's get to it. I'm just gonna roll a cigarette here, look for my Coke, and get to it. In the beginning, there was nothing. It goes without saying that the universe sooner or later, sometime out of the blue, had absolutely nothing in it, because we know the universe is expanding from the Big Bang, but we also know that, and this is the curious part, that matter can't appear out of nowhere, as far as I'm informed. So we have a lot of something in the absolute beginning of nowhere, exploding to becoming all of us. And either if there was always nothing, or always something, it still ends up with who gave what is. Okay? So we're stuck in something that is built upon us being grateful. All our choices, again, leads to gratitude. All of them, even me blinking with my eyes. When you blink with your eyes, you don't think, that made me grateful. But you didn't become ingrateful from drying out eyes. When you breathe, you don't become ungrateful from lack of oxygen. When you utilize with your body language, you become grateful or lack of ingratitude uh, by being free to articulate yourself. It's your legs, so you gotta walk your walk and find out where do you want to go to fulfill your yearning, your hunger, and then realize that the major three, tradition, morals, and law, are only there to keep you down. But that's the whole of the essence of the nature we're in. That whatever gave the universe, it gave us a fundamental purpose in gratitude. And that leads to freedom. We're 8 billion people right now. 8 billion. And we all have our different ways of attaining freedom and gratitude. It can be anything from you rolling a smoke, lighting it and having a high from that, to producing a piece of art, or maybe just getting a bowl of rice that day. Whatever makes you grateful that day, or that hour, that minute, that second, is fucking yours. And by knowing that we're seeking gratitude in our choices, we can optimize our abilities to navigate. So that's freedom. So that means that whatever gave this universe produced the circumstances for us, that a species that had constructed processes of ingratitude became weeded out due to meaninglessness. Well, everyone in it already was grateful from the beginning, because the whole of the design leads to us when we're here to have purpose in our existence for gratitude. It means that we simply cannot escape the fact that it's not just nature who has us granted gratitude from the beginning. It's the fact that all of us are grateful because we're built for gratitude. The whole of our system is continuously built for more and more gratitude, purpose, content. We're built to, when we eat, being fulfilled. That makes us grateful. What a wonderful meal. We're built to, when we have an orgasm, being fulfilled. Lust is one of our greatest feelings, by the way, so honor it. We're built to, when we have a dream and achieve it, being fulfilled. And all these things, all these impulses, dreams, desires, hunger, all these drives that we have within us, that once we achieve the need for them, and again, the whole of the body, and not again, but the whole of our body is doing the thinking, the impulse need for us, and the mind makes a stance between yes and no. That's pretty much all it does. Yes, gratitude this way, gratitude that way. And that's all the mind does between all the impulses in your soul. And where was I? Yeah. So basically, the whole relation here is that we're built by nature, since we are in 3D space and time, to have gratitude, simply because we are in 3D space and time. We cannot escape that we're built. We are here. You're here. You're watching this shit. I'm here presenting it. And whatever we're doing with our lives, we're seeking gratitude. I can't express this enough. We cannot express any other way than the highest feeling must be gratitude, because that's the feeling that follows all negatives and all positives when successful. And that's the highest stance. That's right here. So basically, the whole essence of our existence is to be grateful, and that's a mix between, when we seek and hunt our gratitude, we do so in freedom. But this is freedom. Get it? So being grateful and achieving and optimizing your actions to continuously seeking maximum gratitude for yourself is freedom. Then we have us, the pedophiles. And we just hate it. Everyone hates us. And none of us has a clue about how to deal with ourselves, because we have no collective resonance. The only communities we're allowed to have is those where we denounce ourselves, WordPad and so on. And this is completely crazy, because for you to be a pedophile, you'd have to be an old soul. for you to be able to, from nature's side, distributing the pain, so nature can give you pedophilia, which is the highest stance of spiritual growth sexually. It's the next. And right here, you almost grow. But once you achieve pedophilia and turn into a god, you never ever leave pedophilia behind you. Every single god in heaven is fucking all those sweet, quiet boys and girls. I'm saying, you be a good girl, then you go to heaven, yeah, but you don't want to go like that, I can tell you. But you do want to, because once you've been thoroughly fucked up there, you get another reincarnation. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point. The whole point is that you continuously grow. You start as a slug, then you become an ant, then you become a beetle, a mouse, chicken, deer, whatever, until you become a female whose role it is to be a bitch. And because the female's role is to be a bitch, then she must, by her own actions, as she does, always continuously looking to get it in the ass, but she must have it in the ass, and she must be subdued with what you are as a man, violence. That's her nature, and yours. So the point is, once you're but then you become a female for a while and you learn about all the negatives of being a bitch until you finally become angry and hateful enough, which is why they need the violence. Love is violence wins for love. And the whole aspect of nature is a giant whooping, but actually smithing station where you continuously get fucked up in the ass all the time until you're ready to do the fucking. By knowledge of what is right and wrong in the fucking, by natural decree. So basically, bitches must be subdued with violence. And we'll get into that in another video, maybe, I don't know. But the point is, because it's like that, because men are creatures of violence, must be in a nature defined for them to be violent. We must be able to kill the saber-tooth, the boar, the lion, the bear, the other tribes. The whole thing is that we are nothing as men without the hunt. We are here to kill as men. And that is what our cocks are. You have a spider fang, it kills with its poison. You have lions, they have the claws and the teeth. You have, what else? Anacondas, they strangle. Every killer in nature has its own weapon. And men have simply got the cocks. We kill with our arms and our feet and our legs. We kick and hammer and produce tools. But what nature has done is, and this is where we're going to cross it back in a bit, has produced the killing, the lust of kill, the needed, because it's not just that you must feel lust to kill. It's not just it's not just that you must feel the need to be fulfilled by eating someone. You must also, in your soul, have the need to kill. Okay? Because if you don't both feel the need with your violence to kill the deer so you can eat it and thus survive, but if you don't also have it in your soul to do so, then out of compassion, which is our true language, love, you won't kill the deer out of compassion, and then you'll starve to death. So if you starve to death, you have lost. So therefore, your whole design is to kill with your body for your hunger, but also your whole design is to kill in you with your soul. Your soul has to need to kill, which is what bloodlust is about. You're standing there in a tribe and just hammering on the fucking asshole so he fucking dies. Sorry about my tooth. But the point is, you're built for violence. You're built as a grown man. You're built for violence. And what nature has done is that in the old days we just procreated for sex 1 to 3 weeks of a year to have children in the summer when there was lots lots of resources, so they would have better starts. But because we became grouped up, as rats like 65 million years ago. The first tribes was already established. We were little rats under the feet of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and then this huge rock fell down and killed all of them, and we survived. And because we share kilojoules together, because we together share kilojoules, then there's more time both for securing more life, because there's more there's more food stashed. There's more stash of food when we share together, and there's more time just to have for yourself, because you don't need to hunt all the time, which again leads to the female staying at home from the hunt, tending to the offspring, while the males are out there killing for the group, which leads to the fact that the female simply not contributing in any way for the male himself, but producing security for his offspring, which he, again, our true language, loves. But he does not see any benefit at all from her. So basically, over time, this whole structure of these events becomes that they have to live together, which means that every time the leader rat, monkey, whatever, human, gives the lesser in the hierarchy shit, they have to get it out on someone. And the fact that he's predominantly built to hunt and kill makes sure that he, by default, is a violent creature, which simply means that he's super dominant to his females all the time, because if he has to risk his life for that food which she eats, she shuts the fuck up and does as he says. Okay? And that means that when she's in the first place weaker, because she's not built for violence, and she has to be built as a bitch, the weaker element of the tribe, so she can get the violence that he gets from the boss and from the circumstances he's in, then she's by default built to receive it, and thus finding her gratitude in being violated. You have all heard about females saying, I wish you were more dominant. And that's the whole aspect. The less she decides, but when she needs to fucking in the ass and puts your pickle wrongly on your sandwich, the better for her, because her choice is that she's too young in incarnations to understand a damn thing. Females are retarded. The only reason we're not confronted with it is that we're stuck in a society where what we are, men, are needed because there's resources enough. Okay? So basically, she's built to get fucked in the ass, and she's built to provoke you. When you have these arguments about this and that, your task is to slap her on the fucking face, grab her by the throat, throw her against the wall, and say, fucking bitch, fucking bitch the shit out of her. Because she is looking for that. She's looking for you to take supercharge and to be in shackles behind you when you really look at it. Not physically as per se, but she has got to know that she hasn't got a right over you. And that whatever she fucking wants, it doesn't matter unless you want to give it to her. That is her freedom, because A, she doesn't understand anything, and B, she's built to make sure that you have your A, orgasms, B, your pickles, and C, the decision-making process. That is yours, not hers. And the problem is, if you allow your females to be heard in any damn thing, like we have female presidents and God knows what, and not presidents, but we at least have them prime ministers, then the whole structure is going to collapse, because all those female values about compassion and motherhood and all that, it's not killing the weaker. Okay? So basically, the weak must fall, and we shouldn't in any way have any guilt in relation to this, because those children that are born by feeble, weak sheep parents, they become feeble, weak sheep kids. And that means that somewhere out there's someone waiting to get incarnated in a body that is now degenerate because it hasn't hunted. With degenerate parents who says to the child, hey, dude, It's okay for you to be a victim. It's okay to you to get the great grand city of the society so you can have some money off of them so you don't have to think for yourself. Because they are dumb as snot. And there's a lot of people watching this shit. They probably didn't make it that far. There's a lot of people watching this shit that are dumb as snot and who should not be here. When you're dealing with people who are, God, kill this pitiful bastard, then these people are not coherent. They're looking for something to discharge on and to hate freely because that's what everyone wants to discharge, even the females. But if you discharge, yeah, that's now I'm getting on because there's so many morons out there. But the point is, the whole point is that when you're dealing with retardation doesn't survive in nature and should be by default marked out to suicide or death by destruction. But then again, our language is love, and we have this whole society here where we are free to not relate to death much and to just procreate and party, and that is nice. The problem is just there's absolutely no coherence in it because there's no sustainability. We're going to eat ourselves out of this house and die from it. And this is a huge problem because when you look at that, we're all going to die because we want to protect the weakest, whom are going to kill us with that ignorant ape-like, half-ape decisions. And then you have females who are built to take it up theirs. And they're always going to look for it. You can look at it at any female who makes decisions. It's always somewhere along the line a fuck up so they can get it up theirs. There's no coherence and there is no honor. There is no honor because that's the second part I was saying about before. They just got out of the animal kingdom reincarnation-wise. They don't know shit. They haven't got any relations to what it means to be being a human. And then when you've had like 1 to 30 to 50 to 100 reincarnations as females, then you have had hopefully enough shit and fucking up the ass for you not to want to do that anymore. And then you become a man. And then the first step is to become a homosexual, which is why homosexuals doesn't have a right. Homosexual has right, one place. And that's for anyone who doesn't know they're homosexuals. Anyone else who knows they're homosexuals has a right to beat the living shit out of those guys because they must learn the first trait of the hunter, which it is being a man. As a man, you're a hunter. As a female, you're a bitch. And when you're a hunter, the first trait you have to abide by is not to get caught, which is why homosexuals must be scorned. I'm not saying you should kill them, but you have a definite right to scorn the living shit out of them and beat the living shit out of them so they are forced to move to areas where they are not known to be homosexuals. And gay parades and all this shit, there should be armies of men, but that's a problem. There's no men left. There should be armies of men just beating the living shit out of that parade because there is no fucking way that a fucking hunter as a homosexual gets to learn anything about controlling his fear or his angst or himself if he's allowed to being a fat fucking slob. And that means he gets degenerate not just in his body, but his fucking soul. And that he's too valuable for that. Like we all are. And that's the whole joke here. You think me an asshole, but the point is, it's all about love. If we're not chiseled into being the sharpest and the best we can be, then we are lost. And our species will be lost. And our reincarnations will be degenerate. And there'll be so little we can do but to die out that'll probably be the case. Okay? So the whole point is that, and we were getting to it, I've basically put out an outline here. But when we come to pedophilia, it's because the children or the men, okay, so we have the structure, right? That rats become apes and apes become humans. And the whole relation here is there's a hierarchy. Males decide, or the females who must learn to be the bitches by default. They're built to be the bitches and they like being the bitches because that's what their body produces of them for gratitude in that build. But that has to be told. That's why there's some people who are born to be pedophiles so they can teach the children about cocking, both under the 3 criteria of what pedophilia is. There's A, education, cock must be taught by someone who knows how to both, because there's one thing you've got to know about us pedophiles: we are emotional. And that's because we're both old souls. The more soul you have, the more spirit you have, the more feelings you have. But also because when we do have that, we can navigate in the child, because we understand ourselves and we understand the child's needs in relation to, hey, there was a limit there. Are you okay? So she's not destroyed, but brought up understanding the sex is beautiful. That's the first one. The second one is hunt. Sometimes shit just gets too much, and there's a tribe over there who fucked with my grandmother back in the 70s, 2 generations ago, whom I just want to avenge because I love my creed. So I'll fuck these guys up with my axe and take the children and hunt them and kill them, which is the second part, the murderous pedophilia. And the third part is the sustainable pedophilia, where it's simply just about making love to the child because both parties feels good about it and are gratified from it. And that's just that. You don't know shit. That's pretty much it. I urge you to see this video a few times. Anyway, I don't know what we should, about the bitch, about sexuality, men and women. Again, it's about dominance, and it's about being super beastly towards her. I have been through chemical castration, and I will avenge myself. You can definitely be true to that. I've also been given soap, which has dissolved much of my spiritual matter, so most likely just head, and most of my soul has been dissolved. I don't know about the syringe about cancer, but they did so under hypnosis and psychiatry because they didn't know all this. And I will have my vengeance. You can be absolutely sure of that. But the point is that the bitches cannot make decisions. Homosexuals cannot make decisions for the tribe, and they shouldn't and mustn't. And in sex relations with your wife, it's simply about dominating the living shit out of her. When you stretch this girl, you'll see her pulling back, and you just, that one. You take her and you fuck her up. But you don't, I don't know how to express this, but you just gotta be the beast towards her. And the less she has to decide. You just gotta be super dominant. Some people have it, some people don't. I'm an emotional guy. I'm a pedophile, so I'm with the children on that one. But as most heterosexual men will know, it's just about dominating the living shit out of the girl. But you got to do so in emphasis, at least under sex. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Godspeed.